This is a Play Your Way Network presentation. Get the full story at PlayLifeYourWay.com. In a world where comics, movies, games, rumors, and Kardashians come at you 24/7, three champions will rise to defend you from wasting precious time, money, and emojis. BK, Nate, and Derreck will show you how to do it the player way.
Ladies and gentlemen and everyone in between, it's on once again, Patron once again. This is your resident podcast, DJ BK, helping you understand how to curate your life and entertainment
the player way.
And I never do this thing alone. Broadcasting live from 3 different cities within the nation, but still all under the banner of the Play Your Way Network. My co-captains, Nate.
That's me. Live from Los
Angeles. And Derreck.
What was that? Yo, it's me. Corrupting the system you already know.
That's what's up, man. So, interesting weekend. April Fool's on the same day as Easter, man. I mean, I know Nate and I probably didn't celebrate Easter because we don't have kids. It's more of a kids thing. What about you, Derreck? Did y'all do anything Easter-wise?
Yeah, the twins went to go to have some pictures taken, and then we kicked it, and then got together with with Priscilla's family as well.
Nice.
And good
Easter egg hunts?
Yep.
So what type of parent are you? Are you the type of parent that
that was raised Jehovah's Witness and told not to believe in religion and didn't really know what to do with Easter until I became an adult in my late 20s? I'm glad you asked this question.
Exactly.
I usually just go for the, hey, I want you kids to enjoy this because I didn't get to, and as we all know how parents are, we want to give to our kids what we didn't get. So, I'm like, let's endorse those cavities.
When I ask what kind of parent are you, what I'm more so getting at is, are you the type of parent that, if you're like when your kids did the Easter egg hunt, did you do it just as a family, or did you take them to a bigger thing that had all kinds of kids of all ages?
I've done both. So
are you the type of parent that if all of the big kids get all the eggs and your kids don't get any eggs, are you just like, that's life, kids? Or
yes,
or do you
life.
Or do you go out and buy them gifts to replace?
I'm sorry that this happened to you, but this only happened to you because you just didn't. If you had to put more gumption and effort, I got to tell them all the time, hey, this is real life, y'all. This is how life's going to be. I'm sorry that you lost, but I'm glad you learned the lesson.
Yeah, dude, there's it's interesting. Our generation has been defined as the everybody gets a medal generation. I'd like to call I'd like to call this next generation that if you don't get an egg at an Easter egg hunt, I'll go out and buy you an Xbox. Did you guys know that nowadays parents give PlayStations and Xboxes as gifts on Easter? Kids get Easter gifts now.
Jesus. Yeah, I've noticed the shift toward Hot Wheels and little things for smaller kids, but then to bigger kids, I was hearing about stuff like that just this past weekend, cameras, iPads. I'm like, what on Easter? Are you kidding me?
What? I don't understand.
You're gonna go get an iPad for waking up today? You know what I mean?
Now, I'll give a disclaimer. All 3 of your co-captains, Derreck, Nate, and BK, none of us are super religious. We may have been raised that way, but as an adult, we tend
monster. I'm not gonna let you be.
We tend to
spaghetti monster.
We tend to look upon religion for what it's for, and then we govern our lives just being good human beings. So it's interesting to me already that Easter is a thing that people who aren't religious still celebrate, but then at the same time for it to escalate into being a second Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was the pagan intention, right? Technically.
Well,
honestly,
I got to give you a one up on that. I mean, when you think about it, really,
it makes sense.
It actually, technically, if we want to get technical about it, Easter should be a bigger event than Christmas. Y'all. I mean, he did die for your sins and all, you know?
You know what I'm saying? Boom. All I got is this busket.
Everybody collectively every year says, I like the baby Jesus version the best. I like the baby version the best. Dear little infant.
Dear little 8-pound
baby Jesus. Dear 5-pound, 9-ounce bundle of joy, Jesus. Yes. Yeah, so that's interesting. But yeah, I had to ask, as you being the resident parent and cowboy of the podcast, how do you face it? So your kids will be better for it, dude. That if the big 12-year-olds, which I think is weird that 12-year-olds take part in an Easter egg hunt anyway.
It's tantamount to Halloween trick-or-treating. You see how all these pagan holidays link, man? It goes, hey, you're too old to be trick-or-treating. You're too old to get Easter.
It's just it's the too old part is what I get a problem
with. Well, that's what I'm saying, that exists in both things. Because you know how some people be like, you're 14 and trick-or-treating? No, man.
Have we learned nothing from
I think
the Karate Kid?
I trick-or-treated until the 8th grade. I remember going 8th grade around and trick-or-treating. So I must have been 12 or 13, yeah. Yeah, I dressed up. I dressed up as Violent J from the Insane Clown Posse, too.
Older.
I look like a
12-year-olds in 8th grade?
Huh? I must have been
right. 12 years old.
13 or, 85.
That's like 14, 15.
Okay, then, yeah.
I think like 6th grade had to be like when you were last doing it.
No, it was definitely 8th grade, and me and my friend went. He went as Shaggy 2 Dope, and I was Violent J, and we had Insane Clown Posse makeup on.
Okay. Let's back it up for a second.
Let's back it up. Halloween.
Okay.
I was a juggalo at one point in time.
Let's go out and be cool and cute on Halloween. No, I'm talking about when you dress up like, Mommy, can I do Halloween and trick or treat? You weren't doing that. Y'all were like, dude, let's dress like ICP.
Well, and we did go around house to house getting candy.
Yeah, but did you also wear Jinko jeans at that time too?
Yeah.
So they didn't count. Like that was part of your. That was part of your mystique. That was part of
Nate was
your,
totally
you were
a
part
waiver.
of that group in middle school that did that. But so it's okay. You get a pass, is what I'm trying to say. I'm talking about somebody who has been looking forward to
Y'all
Halloween.
did it for anarchy reasons.
And if you didn't get to go, you would have cried and said, "Mom, you're not being fair." You know,
it's kind of like,
you're at the age where you're kind of making fun of it a little bit. You're having
12-year-old. I feel like 12's a good age for where all that kind of parent mysticism
exactly.
Yes,
you're
I feel like that's
normal path. Exactly. You were following the normal path. You weren't Michael Myersing it in 8th grade. Michael Myers was like, for real. Like, Michael Myers was too damn old to be going out. That's the reason. His whole origin story is like, you're kind of old to be going out, Mike. And they're like, bitch, I'll fucking kill you. Like, that is what happens when you are too much into the Halloween.
The player way.
I'm telling you, man. That's what's up. So that's what's up. So, Nate, what were you up to this weekend, man?
I continued on with my going outside for the weekend, except
nice.
I was extremely hungover
I did that this
Sunday.
weekend. I did a little going out this weekend myself, man.
I did watch a bunch of shit on Sunday because I was.
Tell us about it, man. Give us the list, bro.
I watched
Give us the
Game Over Man.
Dude, me too.
Okay, let's have a little Indian style talk about
Game Over Man,
because all three of us have seen it by now.
So I love Workaholics. I love. Like, this very well probably will make an appearance on our comedy list. Game Over Man was okay. Like, it was very stupid funny, but honestly, what kind of made Workaholics even funnier to me is them, like, working within the boundaries that they couldn't pass being on TV.
They didn't.
They were allowed to do whatever
the fuck
they wanted to. Yeah, and it just a lot of times, like, it didn't work to me. You know,
like in Workaholics, when they went too far, it was like, this is what happens when you don't explain to stupid people how you're supposed to go step by step through the process. This is where they can end up. Kind of like in that I Love Lucy at the Chocolate Factory.
It felt like they wrote this movie.
She was still within the bounds of doing her job.
In a day, you know, like...
Yeah.
Like they're really, I don't know. It was some parts were pretty funny, and it was very like stupid funny, but it's nowhere near the height of Workaholics to me.
I agree. Yeah. Derek, as a Workaholics mega fan, give us the rundown, bro.
Clink, yeah. I mean, I appreciate the humor in Game Over, man, but it had that, to me, it had that feel, that old school, like, stupid slapstick comedy, kind of like exactly what Nate was saying. That's kind of how I had that, but it was just so over the top at times. Like, there was so much eggplant. It was just it was ridiculous. And, but it was also extreme. I know they wanted to just do as much as possible. But like I said, it's worth watching. It's a laugh. I mean, maybe if you want to look through the world through colored eyes, look at those lights with that.
Absolutely. We'll probably talk a bit about this in the psychology behind what makes a sitcom funny and fresh from week to week. But what's similar to what makes a sitcom work from week to week is what makes a comedy film work from minute to minute. It can't just be a bunch of funny ideas. You can always tell the movies where the guys were sitting in a room and they came up with a script based on talking about a bunch of funny shit. Wouldn't it be cool if we did this? Wouldn't it be cool if we did that?
And then just bridge the gap with poor dialogue.
And tie it in together. There's only one movie in history, in my opinion, that works. There's two. There's only two movies in history, in my opinion, that worked well that way. Dirty Work and Mama's Boy. Those are only two movies that, like, you can tell it was a bunch of premises and then they put them together. But what anchored those films were some comedians that were, first of all, stand-up comedians, so they understood how to hold a person's attention for 2 hours. You had Norm Macdonald, even though he's not an incredibly funny stand-up, he is a stand-up, and he's an amazing writer. That's what kept him on SNL so many years. When he was so dull, he was a great writer, and everyone knows if you're on Weekend Update, you're a pretty strong writer, possibly even the best writer on SNL at a given time.
Yeah.
And then Nick Swardson, I mean, forget about it. When it comes to being an amazing stand-up, dude is, I shat myself funny. I love Nick Swardson. So I think Nick Swardson has this way about him when he talks about comedy, when he talks metafilm and metacomedy, he kind of turns into like a sage. Y'all know what I mean? Have you ever seen Nick Swardson like talk seriously? He's not being funny at all. He's like completely serious, and he's very good with his delivery. Whereas this Adam dude, what's his name? Adam with Workaholics?
Adam Devine.
Yeah, Adam Devine. My problem with Adam Devine is he's not a stand-up. At least I've never known him to be. He was one of those guys that was discovered through film as a character actor, and he's making his way through film, making these really good spots, but he's really good at taking something that was written for him, or really not even written for him, but something that was written, and then making it and flipping it on his head his way. He's really good at that. Like, when he's in, one of my best performances of him, in my opinion, is in Pitch Perfect, the first one, and he does Whip It. That dun 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 dun. We're here to have fun, so let it whip. Like, when he does that song, he does it so well. He like brings so much to that, but you can tell that part wasn't written for him. Whereas in this performance, Game Over, man, you could tell they wrote this for him. So he's like a caricature of himself. In fact, they all are within this film. Would you guys agree?
Mm-hmm. Very much so, yeah.
Totally.
All right.
It's well put.
Great conversation.
It's well put. It's well put,
I don't
man.
really think there needs to be much more said about it. It's not that good. I don't really care to see Game Over bored. You know what they teased at the end. I really don't.
No. I think it was a great film. I think the problem was in the editing. For example, the part in the trailer that got me on board for watching it was not in this film. Like when he's doing pantomime, like he's like mouthing the "It Wasn't Me" song along with Shaggy. He doesn't do that in the movie.
Does.
No, he doesn't. If you go back and watch it, he doesn't sing along with Shaggy. Shaggy sings it, and they cut to them, but he actually doesn't sing it in the movie. That's what freaked me out. Like, I was watching it. I watched for that scene, and it wasn't in there. Unless they recut it and uploaded a different version of it, like Rachel
Shaggy
and I
on stage
for that
singing,
scene, and it wasn't there. When he goes, how could I forget giving her an extra key? Like, he didn't do that part in the movie. It was weird.
I feel like... all right, so I feel like I saw that part.
I do too.
I don't know. And then he finally kind of got into it toward the end. He was like, and then he kind of got into it at the end. But he was very awkward before he did that in the movie that I saw.
No, with Adam Devine singing that part.
Oh, okay, that's the part I missed. My bad. I was like,
yeah, in the trailer,
I missed that part.
Adam Devine finishes the song.
I didn't watch the trailer. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, I just watched.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the trailer, Adam Devine actually sings the song instead of Shaggy, because he's like, "Come on, Shaggy, you can do it," and he sings along, and he does it really awkwardly, which is freaking hilarious. But it's not in the movie. That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about, Adam Devine. So anyway, all right, we've beat this whore to death. It's yes. All right, moving along. My weekend ended up producing some stuff with Rube Ziggy for his season 2 of his show Got 'Em. We're working out a deal. It possibly will be on Play Your Way Network when it premieres this summer, so crossing our fingers for that. A hilarious sketch comedy show. It's this long form sketch comedy, kind of like mini film, and it's hilarious. The first season was good, but this season's even better because we brought in some. He brought in some heavy hitters with doing the production side of it. So the jokes are not just as good as they were before, but it also lives up to the performance piece of it as well. So shout out to Rube Ziggy. You're definitely doing independent production.
The Player Way.
So that's what's up. Anything that we need to watch out for before we get started? Because if you are watching or you're listening to this podcast, then you already know that this episode is our top 5 dramatic films list. And
TV series.
Before we get into that, we're going to go into our top 5 dramatic series television shows list from Play Your Way Network. Our writers actually got involved with it. They've been liking what we've been doing from week to week. So we're going to actually read their honorable mentions and their top 5. And then what we'll do is we'll go around the campfire and do our top 5 with honorable mentions as well. But before we get into that, I want to give anybody any opportunity. If there's anything else we need to be watching out for, guys.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm watching out for, but just with regards to this weekend, I went to go see a couple movies.
Oh, that's what's up, bro. Tell me about it.
I love monster movies, so I had to go see Pacific Rim Uprising in the theater, and it was actually pretty cool. They kind of went a little different with the storyline than what I had originally been led to believe in the trailer, so I'm kind of cool with that. And it worked. I mean, it was a monster movie in the theater, but more importantly, I saw Ready Player One as well, which was every single thing that I actually wanted it to be. You had an excellent assessment when we discussed this first, where you were kind of curious if it's gonna. Or you had made a intelligent statement of it's going to be awesome to see the things that we love, but will they be able to bridge those things with a good storyline? And I feel like they did. I feel like they had a decent storyline. It was a feel-good movie. Had that cheesiness of that 80s, 90s, and 70s, the decades that this was definitely aimed toward. And I really enjoyed it. You put an excellent video on the Play Your Way Network. You can check that out on our Facebook page and Instagram at Play Your Way Podcast. And you can see where you assessed it, gave it 4 out of 5 fun stars there. And it was fun.
Yeah.
It was really entertaining.
Yeah. What we're probably going to be doing on the we do these reviews on our podcast, but by the time the podcast comes out, it's kind of after the film has already come out. So what we're going to probably start doing is recording some hot sports opinions, as Derek would say, and putting them out there on Instagram in bite-sized potent potables, so that you can kind of look at your movie list for the weekend and curate it.
The Player Way.
My Saturday kind of went a different way, so I didn't quite get it out Saturday night like I wanted to, but I did get it out there on Sunday, so you could take a look at that. But yeah, just to give you an understanding, 4 out of 5 stars, and I said the key word for this weekend, that weekend movie was fun. Ready Player One is an incredibly fun film, has a ton of heart, And Steven Spielberg, once again, he has this way of really helping you remember what it was like to see a movie as a child. When you watch this film, a lot of people who have not read the book before won't appreciate well, Nate, have you seen this film yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, do you care about spoilers?
No, I'm probably not going to watch it in theaters.
Okay, you should see it in theaters.
It's the graphics, man.
There's something that I'm about to tell you about. Is probably the best looking thing that we'll probably see all year long in theaters. Hands down, it is the
above
best,
Infinity War.
Above Infinity.
That's a bold statement.
Infinity War won't attain a level of artistic majesty that this thing did. So in Ready Player One, the original novel, the second key that they go after is actually takes place within the story War Games, like the 80s movie War Games. Mm-hmm. So that's the film that whole stage is about. But to rejuvenate it and make it more palatable, because War Games is a film I didn't appreciate. To this day, War Games is okay to me. I like The Wizard better. You know what I mean? Like, War Games is okay. You know what I mean? Even though there's a lot of... It's one of those films that everyone supposedly loves, but it's okay. It's pretty good. But what he does is Spielberg decides to go a different direction with it so that all audiences can appreciate it, and they redo the Overlook Hotel from The Shining. So they recreate the whole Shining film, like within the middle of this film, but the characters are able to walk through the Overlook Hotel as characters within the film, and so it's genius. And like one of the characters in the film has never seen The Shining.
Yes.
So like you relive the first time you saw this film through this character. Yes. And it's breathtaking. It's the coolest thing in the whole movie. Besides seeing Jason and Freddy Krueger pop up at random times.
The race was pretty damn cool too. The race was pretty awesome to me. I enjoyed that race.
You name a character, they're there. I mean, it is insane to watch.
Like I even saw. Did you see Battletoads? Did you see the Battletoads in there?
Rachel got so mad at me because I kept saying, "And it's this, and this, and there's that,
yes,
and it's this." I just kept doing it. I mean, and I'm almost for certain that Last Castle is, and when he does the Hadouken, man.
Right, I lost my mind, dude. Like I had a bonding moment with other dudes on my row at the theater when that happened. Like we all kind of did it too. You know what I mean? Like, right? Yes.
Like it's like I wish Capcom would look at this and say challenge accepted. Like if they can do a Hadouken in a movie and make it look legit, surely we can get a Street Fighter film that works.
Yes.
Surely. But I mean, Nate, it's great to watch in theater. I did have a problem. Derek, tell me if you had the similar experience. The audio editing was bad.
On sometimes film. Where
it was way too quiet, especially the opening song with "Jump" by Van Halen. It was way quiet.
Where yes, Van Halen was playing at the start of this film, and I totally agree with you there. At that moment, it didn't seem as
if you had a phone conversation in the middle of the movie, you could hear the whole conversation and be uninterrupted. I mean, it was
crazy. Absolutely. That's definitely how quiet it was.
Exactly. So it was. So I had my problems with that. What was the lead actor's name in the film, Derek?
Cyclops.
I'm
not even Cyclops, fucking Cyclops. That's why I didn't really want to watch the movie. I was like, fuck this guy.
This guy's been in several things. He's been in several films that didn't quite...
Ty Sheridan.
Yeah, I think he was in a movie with... It was like a Journey to the East movie with The Hidden Kingdom. I think he was in that, maybe. Forbidden Kingdom, maybe is what it was called. It was like Jet Li and... You looking at his filmogaphy?
I don't
Absolutely.
Think he was in that.
We got Ready Player
Maybe
One.
not him. Okay, he's just been in. I call him Miles Teller Light. That's what I call this guy. That's because that's who he reminds me of, Miles Teller, but like not so good. But this is like to me, this was his first real good performance.
Speaking of,
he did.
Oh,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, speaking of fucking X-Men, I am so happy that they fucking delayed.
Oh yeah, that was.
I would be.
For sure.
I would be surprised if either of these movies got theatrical releases. Honestly.
No, they're going to.
No, New Mutants definitely isn't going to.
Say what?
New Mutants definitely isn't going to be released.
No. New Mutants.
Dark Phoenix. I would
trailer,
certainly be surprised if they did.
They're going to do it. Dark Phoenix. They're going to do it. I mean, they got to. And
why?
And what I think they're going to do.
People are anticipating by the beginning of 2019 that the deal will have gone through. And if I were Marvel, I would not. Is
that your conspiracy theory for this week?
Conspiracy. But what if it's a conspiracy?
You set yourself up, dude.
But yeah, in all honesty, I think if this deal does go through at the beginning of the year, if I were Marvel, if I were Kevin Feige, or if I were Bob Iger, I would not release this movie because it's just going to confuse audiences. It's
so what you're saying is you're speculating that the reason for the delay is because there's talks.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the deal is done. They just have to they have to go through like the legal. The government has to approve shit like that. So the deal's basically done, and everybody thinks it will go through. And I think that's why these are being delayed. Yeah, I do.
So do you think that?
Because Disney won't lose any money by not releasing these movies. I mean, you could very well just release them on demand. If you really want,
because the money's already spent on the collateral that's out there.
Yeah,
so
they're not going to.
Collateral's out there.
They're not going to gain any. I think they have more to lose.
So would you even speculate to conspiracy theory with you again?
Conspiracy. But what if?
Get to some of this.
Exactly. So my conspiracy theory, along with Nate, to join in with him, is that mayhaps they only really announced these to raise the valuation on the property before the sale.
No, I think they announced them because it was business as usual. X-Men is a huge property to them, even though it has more failures than successes. But at this point, once the deal actually went through, I don't know. I mean, that changed everything.
Okay. So you think that's why they went for broke with Deadpool? Because they're going for broke in this thing. I mean, they're going full X-Force on this thing. Yeah. I mean, Shatterstar, dude. They're bringing Shatterstar in on a film. I never thought we'd see Shatterstar.
Deadpool, to me, is the only property they have that can exist in the MCU. And keeping Ryan Reynolds, too, if they really wanted to. Because you can easily
they're taking them.
Explain it.
Yeah,
but
here's the thing.
The X-Men, your Ready Player One guy, the Game of Thrones woman, no one cared about those kids in Apocalypse. No one was like, we need to see another movie with this new cast. Said no one ever.
I just happened to watch this last week, and
that's how you really feel, Nate.
When I first watched it, I liked it so much better than the second time I did. I was like, why did I like this so much? If those,
which one?
Exactly what Nate's talking about. X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh.
When he just, I was saying I just happened to watch that last week.
And see, X-Men Apocalypse improves for me as I watch it. I kind of see what they were going for, and I don't know. I guess I can watch.
Do you think that's what you like about it? Your idea on it?
I get what they were going for.
Yeah.
So I see what they were going for. Like, they weren't going for Apocalypse per se. They were going for Apocalypse reincarnated in a new body. So I get it, and I get that they were really entranced by this guy's performance. But he was the wrong choice for Apocalypse, even though he's a great actor. And they were really banking on the fact that he's been bringing in butts and seats through the Star Wars galaxy. That was what that was about. It was like, well, he's doing really good over here. We can pivot that. But that's what happens when you put an actor who can put butts in seats. But it's Storm all over again. Halle Berry, wrong actress, wrong part. Great actress, Grammy Award or Oscar Award winning, but she shouldn't have been Storm ever. And everyone agrees on that. And I feel like for the second generation, that's the wrong choice. Although I did like Sansa Stark as Jean Grey. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Right, Nate?
Fair enough. Hey.
I'm saying Sansa Stark as Jean Grey. Would you say she was a good choice to see on film?
Not really.
Not really.
What was so there? It was a fucking terrible movie. I don't. First of all, Apocalypse had every power in the world, but he couldn't beat the fucking X-Men. He could decapitate people while saving Storm, but he couldn't do that again throughout the whole fucking movie. I mean, it's just, it made no sense.
That's what I was thinking the second time I watched it. I'm like, y'all gave him the power to disintegrate.
Jabronis to be his horsemen, like the first 4 mutant CCs. You know, like, come on.
Yes.
Psylocke?
Archangel?
Don't even get me started on Archangel died from flying. This is a man that flew, and he died in a plane. Come on. That's just shitty writing. It's just shitty fucking writing, you know. And this
he didn't get a good player until the 5th round in Magneto.
Dark Phoenix, the writer of that movie, is directing Dark Phoenix. Hey guys, hold on to your butts. You know, it's never directed a movie ever in his life, but he wrote one shitty one. You know, his claim to fame is writing Days of Future Past, which doesn't hold up very well. Oh God.
Ladies
I didn't even
like.
I remember when.
Keep going.
No, when this movie came out, you know, you texted me and you said that wasn't that bad, and I said which part? Like,
yeah, I remember that.
I felt it's Suicide Squad level bad to me. Like it was just a dumb story, dumb villain.
I did hate that they went back to the Quicksilver well again.
Yeah,
I was like, guys, we don't need to go back to this again.
And Magneto never finds out he's his father. Like, you want a good character moment? You have Magneto find out he has a kid, then he turns on Apocalypse. Otherwise, it makes no sense whatsoever as to why he turned on Apocalypse. And of course,
I am
welcoming him back with open fucking arms at the end of the movie. Once again, it's like, yeah, you killed a lot of people, but we're still friends, bro. You know, like, go fuck yourself, guys. Like, it's just, he helped rebuild the mansion. Everything's cool. You know, it's so dumb. What are they going to do with Dark Phoenix? Make him bad again? You know?
And a happy new year.
I'm done. Done with that.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, everyone between, that is the most words on a single episode that we've ever heard Nate utter.
Every other word now is the record.
I passionately hate that movie.
Incredible.
I really do. I hate, you know, you made me.
Let the hate flow through you.
I used to love X-Men 2, and you made me hate it. We had this discussion. It was in
X-Men 2 was.
It was in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and I was like, well, X-Men 2 wasn't that bad. And you pointed out
that was the beginning of the Playaway podcast.
You pointed out the fact that, like,
New Jersey, dude,
after the Nightcrawler scene, which was cool, it shows Wolverine going to Alkali Lake and then leaving because he didn't find anything.
Yes, yes. Even though he has super sense of smell,
that's where the secret base was the whole time. Like,
I remember specifically what I said. Do you remember what I said?
Yeah. And I remember after that discussion, I was like, God damn it, it's a very stupid movie.
I was like, my whole life has led up to this moment, and I don't see anything. I'm going home. Like, it was like that. Like, never mind, how much money did you spend to get here, and you didn't think
you rode on a motorcycle from New York to Alaska.
This is an 8-day ride.
He did the Metal Gear Solid, like, non-playable character thing. Nothing over here. Yeah. And walked away. Like, wow. In order for the
these footprints that were just there that weren't mine, I'm going to stop investigating them.
You know?
or the fact that Iceman, throughout the entire trilogy and beyond, doesn't do anything on the level of what he does against Stryker in that moment. He builds the thickest block of fucking impenetrable, bulletproof ice ever. And he never does anything that cool again.
Yeah.
Nothing. Against the Sentinels, he gets his shit pushed in. Even though he could have just built a wall to keep them out. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was so much about X2 that I thought was so dumb.
You made me hate it. You really did. I couldn't watch it after that.
New Brunswick is also the birth of the Harry Potter versus J.R.R. Tolkien discussion. Like the debate between which one was a more epic series and more timeless. Yeah, that was the beginning of the Playway podcast right there. That was after that trip was that one in what was the other one in Florida? You were like, we should do this as like a podcast, man.
Orlando. Well, we were in Orlando probably.
Jacksonville. Yeah. Jacksonville. It was Jacksonville. Yeah. And in Orlando we talked about it too, but Jacksonville was probably one of them. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. So yes, Ready Player One was a fun film and you guys should go see it.
The Player Way.
All right, so I expect this amount of energy and dedication in the next leg of our discussion as we're heading into the top 5 dramatic television film series or television series of all time. But before we get into this, Player Way Podcast is brought to you by Agency Cartel, the official comfort wear of hustle time, of hustle season, of B season, whatever you want to call it. It's grind time. So go on agencycartel.com to take a look at the swag there if you want to look official while you get your hustle on, or if you just want some cool Player Way podcast or Play Your Way Network swag like I got on right now, head over there to agencycartel.com, the official apparel sponsor of
The Player Way.
There you go. All right, so starting us off, we're going to go to our honorable mentions that you can find at playyourwaypodcast.com, playlifeyourway.com, or just playyourwaynetwork.com by our illustrious team of writers. Thanks to everyone who participated in that. Larry, Ian Parsons, Darius, Bink, John Barron Bink to be specific, Ian Townsend, The Wolf, and Alex as well was a part of that. So thank you guys for being a part of that. And to do you guys justice, we're going to go down your honorable mentions first in no particular orders. The Leftovers, HBO. I don't know if you guys have seen that show. Incredibly good show about what would happen if the rapture actually happened. What would the world be like after the people who were left over remain on Earth? Really cool series. Rachel is avid about that show, and unfortunately it got canceled before it concluded. But
I thought it was able to, show. Wasn't it? They announced like the third season was going to be the final and conclude the story.
Well, Rachel, I didn't watch the show myself, so I can't speak to it other than the fact that I remember when they announced the show was going off, Rachel went, "No! The story's not finished yet." So I take it that the story's not finished yet. And I know a lot of people were upset about that too. Another honorable mention is Castle on ABC. Power on Stars, another great show. Another honorable mention, The West Wing on NBC. Sherlock, part of BBC, not to be confused with Certain Proclivities. Any other honorable mentions you guys got that should be on this list that won't be on the list?
I have two personally. My honorable mentions were Sons of Anarchy and Deadwood. Yep,
there you go. Very good one. Very good series. Go ahead, Derek.
My honorable mentions are on the site. Sherlock, it's one of my favorite shows to watch, and that's the only one I got on there.
Yeah, my honorable mention was going to be Dexter and what was the other one? Homeland. The only reason why those two series did not make my official list were because these are two series that both fizzled out before they really saw their promise. But the first couple of seasons of both of these shows were some of the best television ever. And if they had stopped at those seasons, they would probably be on my list.
Once Brody died in Homeland,
I totally agree.
I wasn't interested
with Brody
anymore.
dying, the series is over.
Yeah.
This is over. Like, what else is
I'm surprised. It's still going on, too.
It is. It fascinates me. It fascinates me because the performance of the actor that played Brody,
Damian Lewis.
There's a show that is on my list in my top 5 that he is on that is amazing. And why don't we just get this thing started? My number 5 is Millions.
Billions.
Showtime. If you guys have
Called
not
Billions.
seen Millions on Showtime,
I think it's called
I'm
Billions.
getting chill bumps.
I just
talking
now
about
saw it advertised for the first time in my life this past weekend at the theater. Never even
I
heard
think-
of
You
it
seen
before.
Millions?
Like
I think it's called Billions, man.
Billions. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Billions.
Must
you
not
seen
be
Billions,
that.
Nate?
Must not be that
know, right?
important to you.
No, sorry. I was
no,
sorry.
no, I haven't.
My lack of Millions is what made me see that show. Millions is like billions to me. Let me just put it like that. So yes, Billions. Yes. Have you seen Billions?
no, I have not.
Billions is an incredibly sexy film. If you want, Wolf of Wall Street as a series is what this is, without the comedy parts, with it taking itself completely serious, and the comedy is a lot more dark. It's incredible series. The acting is superb. It's one of those shows that if they don't mess it up, it's going to be one of those shows like a season or two from now, people are going to be like, why have I not been watching this? And the reason why you haven't been watching it is because what they did with Dexter and Homeland destroyed Showtime, in my opinion, as being a contender for better series. So people don't really trust Showtime as much. They rage unsubscribed from Showtime when Dexter concluded. So a lot of people just haven't seen anything on those networks. But yeah, Billions, my number 5 for sure. So, guys,
So you want to kick it
let's go
too?
next.
Sure.
It sounds
I'll
like
go.
you.
So when I put my list together, I put series that were already done to me. If there are still
Okay.
ongoing, I didn't want to choose them. So my number 5 was
Fair enough.
probably the very first HBO show I've ever watched, Oz. It doesn't hold up as well, I think, now.
No, it doesn't.
But it still always holds a soft spot in my heart, and I do watch it over again every once in a while.
I hate that I have the same place for Oz I have for 24. I didn't get into those series when it was at its height. And so trying to go back and watch them, I can't get into them at all. Like there's a couple of episodes that are cool to watch, but I don't get it the way you guys get it.
Yeah. My number 5 is Oz as well, so let's just keep this going. I love that series. It's one of the first HBO series I watched as well, probably the first, and I watched it with my mom back when it was on and popping, staying up late on Sunday nights to watch that. And every time you hear that and that badass start out, like, man, it was a good show. Like, it's just like, you can tell that it's set in the 90s, because that's what it was following at the time. But that's what kind of even helps it out right now. I'm actually rewatching it presently, just one of my backup shows. So yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that show. It was violent, it was intelligent, it was flammable, it was windy, it was just, man, it was in your face, man. It was some hardcore, like, I loved his narration. Henry, is it Perrineau? But it's just one of my favorite shows. So yeah, it made it to my number 5 as well.
Nice. Cool. All right, moving on to number 4. My number 4, the slot for it would have gone to Lost, that's the reason why I saved this one. I didn't mention it in honorable mentions because I think people might have expected Lost to be on my list. But it would have gone to Lost if not for Lost crumbling. Again, and I think that's the reason why I did decide to go ahead and put series on here that are continuing, because they're an example of how you should stay the course. Lost is an example of how you can get to the very end and fumble the ball. And there's another series on this list that, if not for its last episode ending the way it did, it would probably be higher on my list. But yeah, in my opinion, the story ending is more important than the journey, in my opinion, because the journey is defined by the destination. So if the destination is terrible, how can the trip be all that great? It's a great story, but it's not going to be your best trip ever story. So, yeah. So, my number 4, getting to what my number 4 actually is a series that reminds me a lot of Lost, and it is Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones has a lot of the same elements, how people are about being fans of it. It has this clan aspect to it. It's got a lot of You got to keep all the pieces together, a ton of characters, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of speculation and theories. That's what made Lost so fun. It was like all of these theories and how is it going to play out. And there has to be some playoffs to all of those theories, because those theories, a lot of times the people that come up with the theories online are smarter than the people that are writing the show. I mean, that's very similar to Star Wars fans. Like, most of the people writing fan fiction know a lot more about Star Wars than the people writing it. Which is weird, but it's true. It's just like they know it. So there's got to be payoff, and I'm really hoping that Game of Thrones has the payoff, because all those breadcrumbs did come from a single loaf of bread at one period of time that you broke it off of. If the crumbs end up being cornbread instead of French loaf, we're going to have a problem, because you showed us breadcrumbs of a different sort throughout the series. So we'll see what happens with Game of Thrones, but definitely love this series. I can't really say too much because I don't want to spoil the series for anybody, because it is ongoing, but all of the things that make a series epic, similar to Lost, it's all in this series. So if you love Lost, you will love this series. Number 4, guys. Guess it would be Nate next.
Excuse me. My number 4 is Sopranos.
Nice.
My second HBO show I ever watched, and I got in.
And it was the definitive HBO show.
Motherfucker. I got in probably around season 3. I remember.
Woke up this morning.
I used to actually rent the tapes from the public library. They had the HBO VHS.
Nice.
So that's how I ended up getting into it.
You know how difficult that is?
Well,
that's dedication.
Well, no, it wasn't that difficult at all. I just walk over, you know. But I remember people during the States. It was what we used to call America. The States had a lot of publicity on Sopranos at the time, so that's what made me watch it. And I fell in love with it, and still watch it to this day. Yeah.
I like that little smile on Derreck's face, dude. What's your number 4, man?
My number 4 was another HBO series, but it was 6 Feet Under. This was a really great show to me. I loved this show. I like how it starts.
Respect,
I like
dude.
how it maintains its theme for the entire series. Every show starts off with somebody dying, and then that lesson is tied into the family that you've grown to love and be interactful with, and you see them all grow up and change as characters. It's an incredible show. The series finale was beautifully, masterfully
the
done.
best final episode of any series ever in history.
Like,
the best. I'm going to say it right now. The best final episode of any series.
The song choice, I'm not going to say it right now because you need to, like, if you have not seen this series, it is art. The whole series is art. You see Michael C. Hall in a completely different way, and I knew him as this Michael C. Hall before I even met Dexter. So Dexter was such a twist for me to see him play that, because he plays the hell out of this character. It's great acting all around.
So much
you
heart.
can't help but
much heart to the series.
It's like you feel this, and it's like the more serious version. I always think of those other shows like Dead Like Me, and then like the one where, and then the other one, Pushing Up Daisies. Like those were just more like the comedy aspect of this, but 6 Feet Under was the dramatic like antithesis
6 Feet
of it.
Under, you could watch that final episode without seeing the rest of the series, and it would be a beautiful story, and it still makes sense as a standalone episode, which is an almost near impossible feat. It is, but it is. You're 100% right. That last episode is chilling. Great choice, dude.
Thanks.
All right, we're down to number 3. And we're just going to keep it moving, as Derreck would say. My number 3 is Sopranos. It would be number 1 if not for the last episode of the series. I'm one of those people that at first I was stupid like everybody else and agreed that like the last episode, it was artful by leaving it up. No. Anytime, I think it's, I don't want to use that word on the podcast. It is very spineless to not give a resolution to a series just because you don't know what to do. And that's basically what happened, is they didn't know how to end the series in a way that appeased everybody, so they just chose not to end the series and never want to answer whether it happened or not, to not ruin the series. So that's a great way to tell you what happened without telling you what happened. But an amazing series, nonetheless. If it pays off the way most of us think happened, then it's a great fitting into the tale. It is not fair, though, that we get to see what happens to everybody else when the music stops. But with this person, we didn't get to see what happened when the music stops. So it's not fair at all. And on top of that, in a way, it leaves a hero's ending that the whole point of the end of the series is that he's not a hero anymore. And we see him for what he is, just like Dr. Melfi kind of sees him for what he is. We're supposed to see, okay, this guy needs to go. Similar to Dexter, which is another reason why we hated how Dexter ended. Because Dexter should have died. But anyway, that's my number 3.
My number 3 was Lost.
Nice.
I hold a soft spot for this show because I've watched it from the beginning. It's one of those shows where I was there from the start. I watched the pilot on TV and continued week from week as it went on. Yeah, it's about a season and a half of shit from season 2 to the end of season 3. But it's a good lesson as to have the ending of your story in mind. Like, just because the show's popular, don't drag it on, because people will remember it as a good story, which I'll get into more with my number 2. But yeah, for me, I liked the way it ended. The ending to me, it was about the cast coming together, and leaving together.
So you understand the ending of the series? You're like one of the only people I know that understands the end of this. I don't know what happened.
Well, essentially that flash sideways was sort of a purgatory thing where they were all waiting for each other to get there. And once they did, then they passed on because it was about them, not about the island per se. It was more the bond that they all shared, So to me, it wasn't, because there's even a line, I forgot who says it, but someone said some passed on earlier than others, like meaning some died earlier than others. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Once they figured out, like, okay.
So the island did happen. Everything on the island did happen.
Yeah, whatever happened, happened. Everything did happen. And to me, I don't know. Maybe it's because I was there from the beginning and saw it all the way through that I still.
I was one of those people too. I was in there really early. But yeah.
If I rewatch it, I skip from the ending of season 1 right to season 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you okay?
I do. Two seasons are kind of shit. It really is.
Okay, so we're kind of saying the same thing, but not, because like I liked those seasons. I didn't like the rest of it. So it's like would you agree that some of it didn't quite fit together?
No. Once they said, okay, this is the end date, then the story got better, especially when it started getting into like the sci-fi stuff, the time travel. I really dug it personally. I know others didn't.
Gotcha.
But me personally, I liked it. Yeah.
Derek?
Lost was a great series. I enjoyed it as well. It's not on my list just because the only reason I didn't put it on my list is because I argued with myself and I just figured it was more of a science fiction fantasy style series as opposed to, but it did have a ton of dramatic elements. So that's just my own thought process. But I almost everything Nate just said. I wholeheartedly agree. So if this was a sci-fi list, I'd be talking about Lost. But my number 3 was actually one of Nate's honorable mentions, and Riding Through This World. Sons of Anarchy. I loved this series. This was the motorcycle gang version of The Sopranos, but with much more current realism. Like, this show can hold up if you started it right now. And you wouldn't feel like it doesn't have a lot of outside current events to really date it. Cell phones are, they use good cell phones in there, just that would still make sense to use for these type of people. Great acting. I mean, you could tell that Kurt Sutter really had his shit together on this one, and I love how how he even put himself in there just beautifully.
Yeah, character study of who they were actually modeling after. There is a real biker gang, Hell's Angels, that they were modeled after.
Of course.
And that's in any stories you hear biographical film that you see, it's exactly like what you see in Sons of Anarchy. I feel like Sons of Anarchy lost its way a little bit, similar to what Nate was saying about like the story going maybe a little beyond the time it needed because it was popular, so they kind of lost their way a little bit, but they tied it up in the end. I felt like the ending, the hero's end
justified it.
Made perfect sense. It made perfect sense.
It's really good.
To it,
great music, soundtrack. Every time I rewatch it, I get another slew of great music from the White
Katie
Buffalo.
Seagal did her thing on that soundtrack, dude.
Plus, the first time
I've learned several of his songs just because of that great show.
The first time I ever saw Opie's death, too, my jaw hit the floor, and I got choked up. I was like, God,
dude.
This is
We
brutal.
should do a shocking twist list. The best shocking twist, like the jaw.
If you haven't seen Sons of Anarchy,
yeah, spoilers. I'm not.
Be sure and put a PSA in that one, B.
It really made me choke up.
Look, man.
Oh my God, dude. And hell, even the death of his wife. Hell, if you saying that, even the death of his wife, seeing her get up in the truck, and I'm just like, oh, like you're so every memorable death was a memorable death, like Tig kneeling by a burning body, dude. Man,
you want to live the rest of your life feeling like a piece of shit. Ope taught you how to make your best friend feel like a piece of shit for the rest of their life. Like, he never recovered from seeing his. Oh, they weren't on good terms. Oh God!
Opie definitely that had the biggest impact to me. By
Dude,
far.
It did.
Man,
that changed the whole game in the series. It's like they have like in Star Wars, it's BBY before the Battle of Yavin, to the point where they had to make Rogue One because everybody was, what does BBY stand for? That is like their before Christ moment. This, in Sons of Anarchy, there's before Ope dies and after Ope dies. Like, that is the timeline. So, yeah, It's 0 hour when that happens. Whew, man. All right, so we're at number 2 now?
Yes.
Number 2.
All right, number 2 for me. By the way, I got to give, if I'm going to give this person credit for number 2, I got to give this other person credit for number 3. Credit for number 3 completely goes to Derreck. I would not have even been a fan of Seagram 7 if not for you introducing me to Christopher Moltisanti, he's my favorite character in the whole series.
Man,
such a tragic character.
Very.
And then
always yearning.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm telling you,
always
dude, tried so hard.
Always yearning.
Tried so hard.
And got so far.
Man, let's not get
but
started.
In his
let's
end,
not even get started on cats staring at pictures of dead men. But anyway, so the credit for this next series completely goes to Nate. If not for Nate, I would have
before
never
you
seen...
finish, Nate,
yes?
Do you mind if we skip you on this one, Nate? Because my number 2,
you already know?
You know what I'm saying? Yes, my number 2 is I already know,
you
man.
You gotta keep the
gabagool
way down in the hole. I never got into the series until Nate. Nate was like, if we're gonna be friends, if this is gonna work out, you have to see this series. Like, it was that serious. Like, you gotta watch it, or else your opinion doesn't matter on anything else in life. And boy, is this series not good. I always skip season 2. It's not that great. Season 2, it doesn't fit. You could tell they didn't quite know where they were going with the series at season 2 because they go in completely different direction. It's not a bad season. It just doesn't fit with the rest of the show.
No.
Like, I can watch season 2 and then it'll make me want to go back and watch seasons 1 through everything else.
Go back to the drugs.
But,
that's all we're here to see. You know? I don't want to see the cops fight the union.
Dude, you want to talk about a series that, again, this is why this series topped Sopranos for me. Sopranos, you needed to have the catharsis of seeing that patriarch die in the way that he made other people die in the series. You need to see him get his comeuppance in order for it to fit, and you need to see what the world looks like now that he's gone for a split second so that you can see why it was necessary for it to happen. Because that's what you see in Sopranos. You see this person has to go in order for the organism to keep living. We have to cut off this limb so that we can survive. You don't see that with the end of the series, so it doesn't fit. But with The Wire, when that kid goes into the stable and you know what he's about to do in that stable, Man.
Dookie?
Dookie?
Yeah.
I love you, Duke. Man.
What number is this on your list, Nate?
2.
Is this on your list?
2, man.
No, it is, but it's all right. Fuck it. I'm gonna go. I'll go back to my number 2, but this is number 1 for me. Only for the reason it beats number 2 because
Look how excited
I have
he was so
seen
excited
it
the second you
more
mentioned
times
that.
than I have seen what's number 2
As soon
on
as I
my
said
list.
Dookie, man, he was
Yeah.
like, I gotta talk.
Dude, his face was
man.
like, oh, let me get in on this.
I was so
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a
Season
Nate
3
voice
ends
exclusive.
with the fall of the Barksdale gang.
Yeah,
Stringer
dude.
and Avon turn on each other. Stringer Bell is still one of my favorite characters ever.
Yeah.
And I can't even. I thought Idris Elba was
Because Stringer
American.
Bell was right. If everybody had did what Stringer Bell said, they would have won.
And he was a
they
smooth motherfucker too, man.
He was, dude.
God
He
damn.
was right.
But
He was 100, but his brother Avon, though, dude.
I was like, how are they going to top this? And they do it season 4
And they did.
with the kids, man. It was such a beautiful
the
season.
kids.
And you
Shout out
see
to
like
Michael B. Jordan,
the
homie.
cyclical nature of this, of Baltimore, West
Dude.
Baltimore. It's both heartbreaking yet a very beautiful story. And yeah, where the fuck's Wallace? That I will always know Michael B. Jordan as fucking Wallace.
Dude, Wallace. Dude, like, okay, it's... If you take The Wire and you compare it with Sopranos, both had high body counts, but The Wire taught you how to love a character and say, if you like this character, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Any character you like in The Wire, get ready. They
Yeah.
about to go. Every character you like, they on their way out.
And I really love like imperfect characters. The hero of the story, all of them, all of the cops have their own problems, but I would say McNulty's probably, top billing. And he is nowhere near a perfect person. His
Not at
personal life sucks. He's serial cheater. He's a fucking drunk, but he's a good police.
What he has to give,
that's what he says.
He has to give. It show that was the series that lets you see. There's all of these other series that have come out since that show that, like NYPD Blue, the cops were the good guys and they had good resolutions.
Yeah.
They showed you that in The Wire. They showed you in order to even get in the dirt on this shit and to even beat them at their own game, you got to get a little dirty.
Yeah.
And even when you get dirty, it doesn't matter because it's just going to keep circling like a drain. There's no way to stop it. It just keeps going. And, like, they just basically just stop trying. Like, that's basically the resolution of the series. Like, well, fuck it, man. Like, it's just no point in trying anymore. It's just going to keep on happening because the government doesn't want it to do better. It just makes you... Dookie, man. Snoop.
You know what the plural pussy is? Pussy.
Just so many characters that well acted. I mean, Snoop was not acting.
No.
That is what
That
that
was
woman
her
is
life,
really
yeah.
like in real life. She's on Love and Hip Hop now, and like she just sustains a career by being herself on television. So, dude, the first scene with Snoop in the hardware store.
Where she buys the nail gun.
Yeah, because that happens right when you're like, what are they gonna do now?
Yeah.
And that's the scene they open with for that next season. You're like, oh, okay, who's this bitch? What is she about to do with that? I'm in, sold.
And her and Chris were even where I thought Weebay was fucking like merciless, but Chris and Snoop just.
They were real. It was real. Like, that's real gangster shit.
And I don't know. I often wonder, like, were there any sort of copycats, going out buying nail guns, sticking their victims in, foreclosed homes? Like,
and what made me love The Wire even more is when I actually had some gigs out in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And got to see cops actually at bars when they retire doing this. When a cop gets killed in Baltimore, every single cop car on the street has a parade. They just started going. Like, I was outside my hotel one night getting some like Chipotle or something, and like literally it had to be at least 70 cop cars. I'm not even joking. And I'm like, what is happening? Is this a parade? And they're like, no, a cop got killed tonight. That's what they do every time a cop gets killed. And I saw it happen 2 more times while I was there, and I was only there 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I was like, this is insane. This series is so true to life. It's crazy. I didn't want to go back to Baltimore ever again, and I've never been back since. So, there you go. Derek, any notes on The Wire? Because Nate and I have totally just pineappled everything.
No. Actually, just noticed since you guys talked about it so much, I've heard so many good things, and any like TV list always has it on there. But I still have yet to see The Wire, and with everything that I've always heard it's so good. So I think that's going to be one of my
If you thought Oz was good,
throw into rotation. So
you saw where Nate
say no,
Oz
like
on his list.
there's nothing more that's going to make like it's already going down. Like it's. Everything.
So you bought
I've
the
heard.
painting. The check is cleared. It's in the car on the way to the house, right? You already got a spot picked out for it.
HBO Go is right there.
It's going right above the hearth. You remove the old paintings.
Like
you
I'm
don't
hitting
even
play
need
after we
HBO
get off
either.
recording. You know what I'm saying?
Too.
I'm hitting play after we get off recording. No lie.
What'd you say, Nate?
I say you don't even need HBO either. It's on Amazon. If you're
It is on Amazon
Prime,
yeah.
I also have it. I got Amazon right there too.
There you go.
Legit. But
all right.
Awesome.
So I guess we go to Nate's number 2 now.
So again, I mean, we already know my number 1. The only reason why this isn't number 1 is because I have seen The Wire way more times than I have seen this show. But I do think this show is the template of what a show should be.
It might be my number 1. Is it your number 1, bitch?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna save it.
This is my number 2. But
it's my number 1.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, because The Wire was his number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so The Wire's your number 1, Nate.
Yes, and number 2
Breaking
is,
Bad.
Yes.
And my number 1 is Breaking Bad.
Yes.
And your number 1 is Breaking Bad, B. So let's just talk about it.
Wait, so
let's
what
just
was
talk
your
about
number
it.
Your
Let's
number
go.
2 was The Wire, right?
Well, we'll get to my number 2. Let's do like.
Let's go to
No, we
gotta
gotta leave it to 1. We gotta leave it to 1. So you go ahead and go to 2.
Oh, all right. So you want me to just say my number 2, and then we'll go back to Nate's number 2 and your number 1?
Yes, and your number 1
All right.
as well, sir.
Yes, and my number 1. Yes, my number 2. What was The Sopranos? I love the series. I perfectly enjoyed the ending. I understand your point totally, BK, on it, but I'm also okay with it. I'm gonna look at it as art, and an artist doesn't have to always explain his work. So I respect that. It goes along with my corrupting the system. I appreciated the series. I quote it almost daily, if not at the very minimum weekly. Something from that show comes definitely flying through my head. The gabagool, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm dying over. You had those ketchup packets the whole time. I'm dying over here. Like the shoelaces tone is
that was from The Godfather and made it theirs.
It's so funny. And you know what the most bacteria infested part of your shoe is? The bottom. No, it's the shoelaces. The fucking shoelaces in the men's restroom. They touch all the piss on the floor. It's the fucking shoelace. Pauly Walnuts, man. Pauly Walnuts.
Never mind that you stepped on the fucking piss. But
right? You fucking idiot, man. I love the series. Drea D'Amato was the business on this series. She was so late 90s, early 2000s hot, Drea D'Amato.
Well, Silvio, we don't know if he died or not.
He's dead. He's pretty much dead.
He was my favorite character, just what I thought I was.
Silvio was great. Every time. There you go. That's why I said a line that was from The Godfather, but they made it theirs. Because when anyone mimics that, they mimic Silvio doing it.
Whoa! Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh!
Now, and here's how we know Silvio's going to die. Even if he lives and comes out of it, they're going to kill him again. Like, he's gone. The only person who survives is Pauly Walnuts. His paranoia did him well in the end.
Yeah. But it's one of my favorite series. I totally enjoyed it. It's one of those, like, if you enjoy film, you got to watch The Sopranos. Simple as that.
Dude, it's one of those series. If you see a single episode on Bravo or something on a Saturday,
you want to restart it.
They pulled you back in.
Restart it, right? Right when I thought, yeah. The gravy's good, man. I say that at least weekly. The gravy's
Every
good.
time I see, I
want gravy when I hear
sauce. It's the gravy.
The gravy. Yes. All right.
Exactly.
All right, and that's my number 2.
One,
Number 1.
Science,
I
bitch.
mean, just by how does this not beat The Wire, dude? I mean, it beats The Wire, dude. It just does.
Look, I think because as a complete series, but I based it on
Nate does
solely
the quantity,
how many times I've
like
seen
movies.
it, and I have seen The Wire way more times than I've seen Breaking Bad. But I think Breaking Bad is the template.
Breaking Bad's a
for
lot
what a show
to take
should
in.
be.
And Breaking Bad is also newer, so
Yeah.
there's less opportunity to see it. But
Well,
and we are grading based on complete series. But it's cool. I get it.
to me, it's the template. Like, you should have a plan when you start a series, know how it's going to end, say it's only going to go on for X amount of years. And people will always remember it as, one of the greatest series of all time.
Here's the evidence of how good Breaking Bad is. It gave birth to another dramatic series that really is very good, and it would be an honorable mention if there was more to go on. If y'all have not seen Better Call Saul, really good show, and it scratches those itches. I mean, man, if nothing more than to see where the old man comes from. I mean, man, ding. Yes, exactly. I'll give it to you.
Oh yeah, you have the real one.
Yeah, but go ahead, Derek. Go ahead.
Man, Breaking Bad was it's a believable story, and you root for this criminal. You root for him through the whole series. You love it when he tells you, "I am the one who knocks." You love it. Yes, you are the one who knocks. You scary ass white chemistry teacher. You are the one who knocks, actually. And like just last week, I had a status. Skylar should have got what Hank got. I hated her so much the whole series. I never liked her. And then just the way they did Hank's death. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Dude, that Ozymandias is one of the best episodes ever put on TV.
Dude.
Ever.
Man.
My head is itching.
Directed by Ryan Johnson, too.
Dude. Like, you're one of the smartest men I've ever known, Walt, and you're too stupid to see that he made up his mind 10 minutes ago. Do what you gotta do. Oh my God. And you're just like,
Ozymandias is really the last episode of the series, and everything else is just an epilogue. It's like, here's what happened after that.
It is.
I mean, it just is.
That's it. That's a great series. Great series.
Plus, it turned a guy who was most well known for being a comedic dad in a sitcom into... I mean,
he got a lot of jobs off of this.
It's a series that it actually mimics the classical epic conventions of what a comedy is. If you go back to Shakespearean theater, if you go back to the Bible, if you go back to Beowulf, if you go back to what makes a tragedy, this series starts off on the highest note possible with the best of intentions. Completely comical. There are laughable moments in that first season. And as you go throughout the series, the laughs are fewer and fewer and fewer. And anything that could, at the very beginning, everything seems to just fall into place so well. To where it's like, if this one thing didn't happen, this wouldn't go well. And it shows how awesome... You start to believe that the reason why things are falling into place is because the man who knocks is making it fall into place. But as the series goes on, you realize that it was all just happenstance the way it all came together, because all of the things that need to fall into place for it to work, it starts to unravel. The microfiche on the money, the moment where Skylar, and I know everyone hates Skylar, but it's because it was acted that well.
Well acted, of course. Yeah, I respect the actress, of course.
She's the cup of coffee after the buzz. She's the thing that says, "Hey, kids, it's time to clean the room up." She's 100%.
Here's the realist. Here's what we really have to worry about now.
Yes, and like you hate her, you like get off the screen. Her and her sister both. You hate both of them, but they are the only right people in the whole series. Yeah. They're the only ones. Even Hank, it's Hank's fault that he dies because he wants to be a hero, and that's what happens to heroes.
So bad,
and it's like, you're a hero, but what's the cost of that?
And that's also well acted. I always feel like the best cops on screen, TV, or movies are the ones that bug the piss out of you, that keep looking under those rocks just to go back, where you're like, quit looking, and you want the criminal to get away, but you have to respect that detective that kicked every door in, that went through everything, went just to put like Hank was like my status said, Hank was Samwise Gamgee on the cool. You know what I'm saying? He was the crux, and he was the catalyst that really all of our good morals should have been bound to. You know, they reminded us, hey, this is really what the shitty end of the stick, down to the part where you even see, like, the desert scene after the train robbery. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and you see the only reason, again, it goes back to, you're thinking this whole time that the reason why things are falling into place is because of Walt. But really the reason why everything falls into place is just because Walt just happens to be the brother of this guy. That's the only reason why he didn't see him, because he didn't look at him. He just didn't look at him. It never occurred to him that the guy standing right next to him would be him. And like the pain on his face when he realizes a man he loves and respects is the guy he's been looking for, and all of the death that has come is because of this guy.
Tied to this man. It's
disgusted.
Great.
The acting is
immediately.
So well done.
You want to talk about exquisite acting? Like I think it's on Ozymandias when he's on the phone with Skylar and basically berating her to get her off because he knows the cops are listening. But while he's doing that, he's breaking down himself. You know, like that to me was. Yeah. I say it all the time. Exquisite fucking acting.
Great series. They're unlike other series that we've mentioned on this list that should be number 2 and not number 1. There is not a single season in this series that you're like, you cannot watch that. If you miss a single episode in this series, something will fall into place for you. You're like, I don't get. Go back. Did you not watch the airplane and the animals, the fuzzy animals in the pool? Go back.
Golly, where you at? No wonder you lost.
Have you not seen the fake meth when he throws it on the ground and boom, like,
oh my god,
oh my god.
And there's so many times in the series where you're just on the edge of your seat because you're like, they're breathing down your neck. Oh my god, like this is about to go down, and you're just like, by the skin of his teeth, you're like, he was about to get it from the Axeman. You know what I'm saying? He was about to get it from the Axeman. And it was about to be a wrap. That was it. It was about to be it. But fortunately, the love of money and Gus Fring's, like, ego, like, stopped it. But just, that.
Gus.
And those moments are everywhere.
Gus was shocking. If you thought was shocking, when the real Two-Face shows up, this is really what Two-Face would look like.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 Incredible. And just how that all came together. Just the bing,
hey Derek.
Like, yes. What's your statement?
Everybody who is listening to this that is still Breaking Bad, right there, you know what this means.
Yes. And you also, and if you watch Breaking Bad, you learn the meaning of loyalty. That dude was the most like F the police, Jesse, like for real. He was gangster.
The end, dude. Loyal till the end. And
man,
and that's what loyalty got him.
Do you think Jesse got away?
A 2-minute head start.
Well, no, because
he got away. But the cops were there. They would have saw him.
Yeah,
they would have saw him.
Here's how
I personally don't think he got away.
Well, it's
difficult.
The maker of the series said that
only if it was
the
daytime.
Last scene with him doing the box in his dream, that was kind of a nod to. It was almost kind of like a flash forward. Like he got away. He got away. And how you know he got away is Heisenberg was the distraction. You know, like they weren't looking for Jesse; they were looking for Heisenberg because they thought Heisenberg was still there with the blue meth still being there.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he got away, and it's also possible. It's also been speculated, and there's been a little bit of a nod that he might not have died, that he might have survived that last little bit there.
No, I thought he woke up as Malcolm in the Middle's dad.
I know, right? That's his new
best
cover
theory
story
ever.
Man, but yeah, great list. Yeah, man, I keep thinking
Great
the last
list.
one we did was the best. This one's the best one. So far, by far.
Oh, man.
Real good feels there. So if we were to go from one down, we would say, well, based on just the amount of votes, it would be Breaking Bad, then The Wire, then The Sopranos. That would be like 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah, probably up there.
So
depends on how many people have really seen Sons of Anarchy. You know what I mean? Or like
no,
6 feet under.
I'm talking about based on our.
Just on us three.
How we
us
voted,
three. Yeah,
that would be
yeah.
1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Sons
Yeah,
of Anarchy
Breaking
would be
Bad,
4, 'cause
Sopranos.
y'all both put Sons of Anarchy on there.
Well, that was my
He had an
honorable mention.
He just had an honorable mention. It was my number 3.
Oh, then there. Well, but see, honorable mentions. I don't know. That's interesting.
I got you. It averaged it out. I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway,
I put it as honorable mention because, to be quite honest, Charlie Hunnam just kind of fucking bugs me. I don't just throughout the show.
Okay,
Jabba,
casting.
Tara, Sam Crow. You know, fuck yourself. Diet King Arthur.
Tara.
my
Yeah.
problem. My
Jabba,
problem with
Tara, the club.
what happens
club.
with Tara?
The MC. I give my back.
Oh, what happened with Tara and his mom? That's what ruined the series for me. I felt like that didn't fit.
Yeah.
It was shock value.
Gemma always
It
needed
fit.
to die. She.
But those
Just
but
like
those
Clay
people don't
always
die.
needed
those
to
are the people
die.
who. Yeah, but Clay did something. Like, you know, it's like Clay he did wet work. Gemma wouldn't. I don't know, man. It was weird to me for it to end that way. I don't mind Gemma dying. I just didn't think that was the person who would have done the wet work. It didn't make any sense to me. I was like, what? That's a huge leap.
Wait, who killed?
But
Who
anyway.
ended up killing her? I thought he did.
I think
haven't ever
BK is
rewatched
talking
it.
about the kitchen scene. Are you talking about the
Yes, I'm
kitchen
talking
scene?
So Gemma killed Tara.
Yes,
I-
that's
yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's talking
That's why
about.
I
He's
said what
saying
happened
that's a
between
strong.
them two.
Gotcha.
Exactly. That didn't make any sense to me.
And then
That was a huge leap.
Juice
Why
covering it
Tara?
up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Tara was playing long. Like what? I don't get it. But anyway,
I don't know.
anyway, that'll do it though. Things coming up this week. I think we do need to. If you are in a place where you're waiting on football and you need some testosterone and basketball's not quite doing it for you, this is the weekends for sports and entertainment.
Yes, it's time for the Sports Rundown, brought to you by the Playaway Podcast. Take it away, gentlemen.
It's time. All right, that's right. It's time for the sports rundown.
It's time for the Sports Rundown.
That's right. It's time for the sports rundown. You haven't heard that drop in a long time, but as Derek indicated, it is time for the sports rundown. And this weekend, the tale of the tape between two sports entertainment companies on Saturday night, UFC 223. We finally get to see Khabib Nurmagomedov, the Eagle, the man with the fuzzy hat, take on the champion Max Holloway, the Blessed One. These two men are essentially the guys that either one of these guys, in my opinion, could kick the shit out of Conor McGregor, who is right now supposedly the best fighter in the world, right behind Money Mayweather. And if you guys didn't know, Mayweather has he actually applied for his MMA license. So it is possible that we may see
exclusive.
Yes, we may see. Indeed, we may see a second
The Player Way.
Exclusive.
bout between those two in a UFC octagon. People are speculating that the first fight that that Mayweather is going to go against, though, to get him into the UFC and give him a decent fight, is going to be CM Punk versus Mayweather, which would be a huge box office seller. Because for one, everyone knows that Mayweather doesn't have any ground game, and his boxing within a MMA, ring with different types of gloves, who's to say his boxing would still be effective? It ain't about points the way it is in a boxing ring. You can't just run away from somebody. They can run you down and hold you, and we know just seeing how everything went against McGregor. While McGregor lost that fight, he won the war in people's mind that he could easily have taken him down if takedowns were allowed inside of that square circle, rather. So, so this fight has implication. The one that's happening this weekend has big implications as to what is going to happen next for Conor McGregor. Whether you love him or hate him, he's kind of the beginning of the next realm of great fighters. People look at Conor McGregor the way they looked at Mike Tyson. Even though he's had his Buster Douglas, no one really feels like he was beaten by Mayweather. No one really thinks that Mayweather kicked his ass. He won the fight, but he didn't kick his ass. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that type of fight. It was a gentleman's fight. You know what I'm saying? A game of points. So everyone still has in their mind that what would happen if Mayweather got it in there. So anyway, Khabib Nurmagomedov, this guy is supposedly the most dangerous man walking. There's video of this man when he was a kid fighting bears. He legitimately fought bears as a child and beat them. This man is insane.
That's what we do for fun in motherland.
Exactly. Khabib Nurmagomedov's record is 25-0. Max Holloway is 19-3. UFC 223, Saturday, April 7th. Khabib versus Holloway in Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn! So that's what's going down. And, of course, the undercard there, the almost co-main event of the evening is going to be Thug Rose Namajunas versus, I can't even say this girl's name, just Shake. I can't ever say her name. But anyway, if you're a fan, you already know what's going down. Great fight. I'm going to be watching it. And then the next night, MMA still has implications because the first wrestling match of Ronda Rousey's career will be happening at WrestleMania in New Orleans. It's going down. And again, Ronda Rousey, this is not like one of those charity, celebrity one-offs. She has signed a contract and she will be in, week out with the WWE, and this is her first match. Any speculation on whether or not she's going to be any good?
You'd be the person.
Who knows,
to ask.
man?
I don't watch wrestling.
She might be a spectacle, It'll probably be. I mean,
it's a match with
I'm sure
her and Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie, right? We're not. I gotta imagine people aren't expecting some sort of wrestling spectacle.
Yeah, what they're billing this as the two most legitimate acts that they've ever had, next to Brock Lesnar, of course, versus the two most, the people who own the company, So that's basically what's going down there. So anyway,
isn't Triple H and Kurt Angle long retired too?
Well, no, they're not retired. They're still in there. The only reason why
they're both 50, right?
Yeah, but they're.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't tangle with Triple H at all.
No, I know that, but it's we're not watching two people in their prime, right? It's
well, but it's hard to say that because here's the Kurt Angle was a legit gold medalist.
Yeah,
and he won the gold medals
realize
with a broken freaking neck. He the only reason why he's not wrestling still today is because he broke his neck in the Olympics, and that's the reason why they won't let him legitimately be an act from his neck is messed up. But a guy with a broken neck in a street fight is still a guy in a street fight, and I wouldn't want to tangle with.
I'm not saying I would either, but this isn't 10 years ago. We're watching.
Have you seen what they look like?
Yeah.
They look like they haven't aged a single day. They look the same. That's
all right. Excuse me. Then this is going to be the greatest fucking match ever. Ronda Rousey is going to astound us all. Excuse me.
I'm just saying they're not.
Look, who's excited about Ronda Rousey wrestling? About as many people that were excited about her fucking acting. There's a reason why she ain't in movies no more. Because she sucks.
I love how his examples actually have very large numbers as an answer to them. There's a lot of people who like both of those things.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, that's why she's still in movies?
Yeah, that's the reason why she's making millions at WrestleMania.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure she is because she ain't getting fucking acting jobs no more. That's for sure. She ain't getting acting.
I mean, it could be. I could be wrong.
I bet she's hoping Expendables 4 is coming out sometime soon. Like, let's be real. When's the last time we seen her in a fucking movie? Oh, she wasn't in the last 2 Fast and the Furious movies. Why? Because she fucking sucked.
So, Sam Worthington's in a movie called The Titan on Netflix.
Might as well have starred Ronda Rousey.
Exactly. I love that anyone who's listening to Nate right now, they're just used to him by now. They're like, yeah, he just hates everything.
I don't. But look, let's call it as it is.
That's why I said, when I said spectacle, I meant like it's going to be something to behold. Like, just a spectacle.
Something to see. It's something to watch.
It's Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, but in wrestling
exactly. It really is.
Oh,
it really
let's not
just
call
money
it
grab.
that. Yes, people have been wanting to
see when I say that, just to be clear, like not at the level of those
McMahon for years.
I'm just saying in the wrestling world, this would be like I don't watch wrestling either, Nate. So I can share in your opinion. And
I'm gonna sign up for WWE. Get the free fucking month. Watch WrestleMania, and I'm gonna give you my fucking play-by-play analysis of this dumb fucking match. No, is this the headline? Like, this is the headline of WrestleMania? No. I hope it isn't.
No. Well, it kind of is, but it's not.
Because I'll tell you what, I have watched the last 3 Raws.
Who is this guy?
I noticed they were on. Because I noticed they were on Hulu, so I watched the last 3 Raws, and each Raw is almost the same. You had John Cena come out, talk for 15 minutes about The Undertaker. You had a bit at the beginning with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. And you had a bit in the middle with Kurt Angle, Ronda Rousey, who's terrible on the fucking mic, and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon fucking whining about how they're owed an apology.
I love how Nate just
I'm not invested in this.
Acts, and he just told you what the 3 headlining acts were. I just love Nate. I love you, Nate. I love you.
I'm gonna watch this fucking WrestleMania. I'm gonna watch it for fucking free.
So your answer to my question is no, Ronda Rousey's not going to be very good, which I agree with you, Nate. I think she's going to be a terrible wrestler. I think they paid too much money to have her come in here, and she's going to suck it up. She's going to be terrible. I think that's the big bubble of all of this, is she's going to be untalented. She's a real fighter, and real fighters have a hard time coming in. Remember Karl Malone and
Dennis Rodman.
Terrible. Exactly. Real Dennis Rodman. Anytime a real wrestler, Mayweather, anytime a real athlete comes in and does fake fighting, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
Because you know what they're actually capable of. You know that there's no way any one of these bitches could beat Ronda Rousey. Not in any estimation. Yes, she got knocked out by a couple of bitches, but these are world-class females that she fought. A regular bar match, it's over in less than... What happened? I was talking to her and then I was on the floor. I don't know. How did I
you've been in a coma for 37 days. You lost your job. And you can never go to your favorite bar that your dad built because you got picked a fight with Ronda Rousey
that you were talking shit to. You know, it's like,
and she does. Since she's a fake fighter, she doesn't have a "I can't knock your ass out" clause, so she knocked her ass out. No one shaved you, and I'm your first visitor. The end.
I think that's the biggest problem with wrestling. To go with what Nate is saying, I'm gonna say it in a more analytical way. The problem with wrestling now is it looks fake. When we used to watch it back in the day, and all 3 of us watched it back in the day, it was real looking.
Attitude.
There was a suspension of disbelief.
But it's also a big part of why I like wrestling are people's mic skills. You know, those personalities that were able to...
nobody has them anymore.
No.
Everybody's mic skill sucks.
Like, watching it the last 3 weeks to a month, my catalyst to wrestling has been John Cena, because he's like the last thing I really remember from 10 years ago when I watched it. But he still is kind of shitty on the fucking mic. Like,
he is.
Rambling
compared
for 10 minutes
about note.
Undertaker. Yeah. No, all the greats. Like, I mean,
terrible.
Look.
And, like, even Undertaker, Undertaker's like the guy that they keep going back to, but he never had mic skills. He never about mic skills. He was like Kane. He was just imposing.
No, he didn't need them.
And now he's old
Tombstone
as shit.
pile driver. Boom.
Now, you want to talk about somebody who's old as shit now. That's somebody who like now I think I could take the Undertaker. Like now, like he's
the player way.
It's like, all right, come on, dude. You got the Mick Jagger thing going on now. Come on, dude. Chill out. Have a seat. You're gonna hurt yourself. But no, yeah. So I'm glad we gave this analysis. I agree with you, Nate. I do think we're going to get a bit of a shit sandwich when it comes to WrestleMania.
I think it's going to be Triple H and Kurt Angle doing most of the wrestling with a quick tag to Ronda. She'll do an arm toss, like a hip toss or something.
I predict my conspiracy theory.
I hope she gets pedigreed too. I really do. I
didn't
hope
do
she
this
gets
because we got to get it wrapped up. But no, I really do expect that Ronda Rousey, you're going to see at least one time Ronda Rousey chase Stephanie McMahon around the ring. Like, we're going to see that at least once or twice during the match.
That's got to be in there, right? Because you're always scared of the real athlete. You got to run around. Yes, classic.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks you guys for a decent episode. I'd say it's decent.
Thanks,
and
man.
shout out to Nate, dude. We got the most passion out of Nate in a single episode.
Well,
yes,
look,
a little longer of an episode, but it is worth it.
When you bring up dumb shit.
Can you send me a list of things you hate?
Anytime Nate is disgusted with something, that is the key. Let's remember X-Men.
Yes, that's right.
Series. Call a movie that is terrible good. That's what you got to do in order to get Nate to just
Nate will, and he comes with facts and receipts.
Is like the best Marvel film ever.
The player way.
We watched
look at him!
Age of Ultron.
Oh man,
this is Shield.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. Thank you guys for tuning in for an amazing episode. Keep listening out for episode 50. There's going to be a little bit of a giveaway in episode 50, so you're going to be wanting to watch. We know that you guys are listening out there, that we have more than just one or two people listening. We know we got at least a good handful of you guys listening every week, and but you're kind of quiet. You're kind of stalking out there, waiting for that opportunity to say, yep, I remember when. Well, we're going to do something to kind of sweeten the deal for you, to get you to kind of call yourself out and identify yourself as a long-time listener. And if you do, you'll win a little something called a $50 Amazon gift card. But that is coming up on episode 50. But until then, shouts out to my co-captains, Nate.
Yo, that's me.
Apparently he liked that toss over to. And Derek.
Yeah, that's me, corrupting the system. You already know. That's what I'm here doing. And I'm out.
And zip it in and zip it out.
Exactly. Zip it up
out
and
you guys
zip it
too.
out.
Nate, send us off ever so slightly.
Peace out, Rabbit.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening to the Player Way Podcast. Recorded in a single take from Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, by Nathan Peterson, Derek Lewis, and BK Jackson.
And I'm Darren Marlar, the majestic voice of the Player Way Podcast.
Our opening theme is titled Bound by Ricky Remedy, courtesy of Elysian Records. And our closing theme is titled Coconut King Diaries by Xander, spelled Zahnder. You can find this music by both Ricky Remedy and Xander, and many more tracks on SoundCloud. And remember, no matter what choices you make or paths you follow, just make sure you do it
the Player Way.
See you next week.